I want to talk about the Green Bay Packers because you obviously know that team very well. We have been somewhat critical of varying degrees this offseason of how 𝙂𝘼𝘽𝙀 and company have gone about their business. Give us some reasons for optimism for this Green Bay Packers team. We are watching the Lions continue to build something there in Detroit. We are watching the Vikings, although they don't know exactly how the quarterback position is going to shake out. They are hopeful that it will be J.J. McCarthy. And we are watching the Packers now looking up at these teams in the division, Kevin. Give us some reason for optimism for the 2025 Packers season.
Well, I think the Packers are like a value stock. They're like a blue chip value stock that just have the continual dividend they pay. They're always ascending. They may have different forms and variations of how they do business and who is there. And I don't know that any of us really realize just what a seismic event it was when Rodgers left after all those years, as it was when Favre left and Aaron had to take over. And now, getting the quarterback thing set is always job one for an organization. The most important relationship in that building every single day is the quarterback and the head coach. And until they got that right, until they found their guy and committed to him, I think your compass is kind of all over the place. It's like Johnny Depp in Pirates, right? That compass is pointing it's rotating. You don't know where you're going. So the quarterback thing had to be fixed. And remember, it didn't get fixed until the second half of 2 seasons ago. They really didn't know what they had in Jordan Love. So from that point on, once you've got that position set and you feel comfortable by just shocking success and luck, a lot of it is luck, you may have your third long-term quarterback in a row, which never happens in the NFL, ever. But it's happened to this organization. So they've only lived in this world for a year and a half. Second half of the season 2 years ago, and then the great run in the playoffs. They make the playoffs last year, but they're in the toughest division in pro football. And you can go out and you can make the splashy sign, and you can go out and do all these different things. And I applaud the Vikings and the Lions for what they've done, and as aggressive as the Bears have done by bolstering their line, especially the middle of it, and the quarterback they think is going to be the guy. The news story is always fun, right? The news story is always great. The Packers just keep going along. They fix something here. They handle something there. They tweak this. They polish off that. It's not an organization that's going to be splashy. They had to be splashy with Reggie White. They had to be splashy with Brett Favre. I guess they had to be splashy when they drafted both Rodgers and Love. But this is an organization which has found the players, the Chimuras of the world. They've drafted them, they've developed them, they've played them, and they've had their run. But I would tell you that if anybody thinks that they don't walk into 1265 Lombardi every day with a sense of urgency, they are completely wrong. And one of the most competitive GMs in football is Gutekunst. And they are building, but they're not an organization which is splashy, as we know. That's just not what they do. The biggest thing they've done in the last couple of years, in addition to finding the quarterback, was getting the running back in the trade with the Raiders, and that proved to be an incredible success. One of the best deals, one of the best signings made in the league. So I have faith in what they do. I trust. The Chiefs haven't been splashy, but they've been to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. And so they may get a piece here and a part there. They just know what to do, and they have a culture and a system and a model that they follow. So I would always trust the process and feel like, for the first time in a long time, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Bears are starting to kind of wake up and do some things, and we get it. That's their job. Their job is to do that. So I'm taking a different approach, and I just think that until everything is set, until they've signed the kids off the street and done the draft, and let's see what they get when the page turns into May and what the roster is looking like. I have complete faith in what they're doing, and that is not a paid endorsement. I feel like they know exactly what they're doing, and they have a method to it, and I think the best is yet to come, quite frankly.
Well, you are a credible and knowledgeable and reliable source on all things Green Bay Packers. Chewy, someone asked in the YouTube stream, Pirates of the Caribbean. Have you seen that one yet?
I have, but it's been a few years.
Okay, he's familiar.
Yeah. Because he made the reference, and we just weren't sure if you were able to follow it or not. Kevin
Captain
Harlan,
Jack Sparrow.
you
There we
are
go.
just the best. We
Sparrow,
so
that's right.
appreciate you, and we cannot wait to hear you on the call for these games from Fiserv Forum on Friday. We'll get you to practice now. Enjoy it, and we appreciate you so much.
Jen, Gabe, Chewy, thank you so much. So fun to be on. Take care.
He's Kevin Harlan, the voice of everything. I wanted to rattle off the list, but we're running out of time.
Please show a little respect. The legendary Kevin
Voice-
Harlan.
The legendary voice of Kevin Harlan. No, the legendary Kevin Harlan, voice of everything.
There we go.
We'll take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Still so much more to get to in the final segment of the show. But before we get to that, guys, I want to tell you about my friends over at Good Health Saunas. You know how it is. You're walking through the expo center at the state fair. You see something that piques your interest. That's how it went down for me with my Good Health Sauna. I am always looking for ways to focus on my wellness, my longevity, my overall health. And that's what the sauna has done for me. It sits in our basement. I fire it up, and in about 20 minutes, I can improve my recovery.
Kevin, how is your dad doing? I know Packers fans around the country would love to know, and I'll say that, I mean, in all my years in Green Bay, everyone loved your dad. You know, and I'll say this, he is a top 5 nicest guys I have ever met. How is he doing?
Well, that is, I'm going to pass that on to him. He'll love to hear those words, especially from you. Thank you. He's doing great. Physically, he gets around, but not as nimbly as he once did. But for instance, the other day, I was driving someplace and we were talking, and we were going over the NIL, and he started bringing up stuff in NIL that I didn't even know. Like, his mind is so sharp. And he loves college basketball. He loves watching Jen on college football. And that game day show is truly the centerpiece. That is the tent pole of his week, is watching game day. He loves it. He just loves it. I told him last night I was going to be on with you, and he was thrilled, Jen. But anyway, my point is that he's doing great. My mom is doing great. You know, the one thing, they have two things that are terrific. They're both in their 80s, deep into their 80s. But they've got each other, and they've been married for 65 years, 66 this August, 65 years, and they're still living in the same house that he bought when he left the Cardinals and came to the Packers in 1971, the house that my brothers and I grew up in. They've stayed in that same house. They love the neighborhood, and they've got each other. And at that age, and not knowing a lot of the ins and outs, and the doctor may disagree, but from my standpoint, being together at that age all these years in a place that is familiar and comfortable to them is just priceless. And it's keeping them alive and sharp, and they're doing just absolutely wonderful. So thank you so much for asking about them. They're doing great.
Here.
Now,
That is
I'll
awesome
pass
to
it on.
hear.
I'll pass
I
it
am
on.
loving hearing that.
Well, let's continue to talk about your family then, Kevin, because you've obviously accomplished so much in your career. How fun is it for you to be able to see your daughter, Olivia, continue to grow her career and then, run into her, during some cool events like the Super Bowl?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she's doing well. She had to kind of reinvent herself as she went overseas with Sam, and he's playing basketball right now in Barcelona, and they were in London, and they've been in Istanbul, and they were down in Russia and Sochi many years ago. But as Jen knows, trying to make that level in your profession is incredibly challenging. And she was lucky enough out of college to get that opportunity with ESPN. But then when she went overseas some 6 years ago, she had to kind of reinvent herself. So she's worked her way by invitation of the NFL to be a part of a lot of the different things they do over there for Commissioner Goodell in hosting forums with fans over there, and then works every week for Sky Sports, which I guess is the equivalent of ESPN or Fox Sports here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So she's working NFL basically every week in some capacity in studio. She's covering the games in London and Munich, and will do that, and it's going to expand over in Europe. And as long as they're over there, I think that's what she's going to do. She's a mom. They've been married for 6 years, and she's one of our 3 daughters, so we're very proud of her. I told her, I said, I told all four of our kids, I said, all you've been able to, by the grace of God, is see someone in a tough business that has been given every break and gotten every wonderful opportunity along the way. The majority of the people in this business don't reach that. They don't ever hit the tone that they want to, get to the market they had dreamed of, have the job they had sought, and it becomes really difficult. And she said, "Thanks, Dad, but I'm still getting in it." And so she did, and she's really enjoyed her ride through the business. How much longer she'll do it, I don't know, but it's intoxicating when you get in it. You live for the crowds, like we're going to see it at Fiserv here tomorrow and today, and watching these kids play and the unknown of how the game is going to unfold over the next 2.5 hours, and it's very addictive. It's very, very tough. And once you're kind of in that arena, and she and I have covered Super Bowls together, which has been so great, and Packer training camp and other things. For a father to see their child do all that is incredibly gratifying. But I've enjoyed her journey. She's enjoying it. We talk a lot about it. We study people that we admire, including one of the people on this call, and she has taken a lot of cues. She keeps notes. She studies, and I like her effort and her challenge to herself to always get better every broadcast.
This feels like the most unnecessary reset in the history of radio, but we are talking to Kevin Harlan because I know y'all are recognizing his voice out there. You know who is on the call with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. And when you mentioned Sam, of course, that is Sam Decker, who had incredible success at Wisconsin this time of year when he was there with the Badgers as well.